Strength in New Life. Emily's journey to empowered motherhood. Pregnancy changes everything: your body, your emotions, your identity. But what if you could embrace those changes with strength, confidence, and grace? In this video, you'll discover the inspiring journey of Emily, a first-time mom who found empowerment through light strength training with simple tools like bodyweight and resistance bands. You'll learn how staying active during pregnancy can help maintain muscle strength, support your posture, and even prevent back pain, all while connecting deeply with your changing body and your growing baby. Plus, we share essential safety tips like why you should avoid certain positions in the second and third trimesters and how to build a routine that feels good, not forced. She wasn't the kind of woman who boasted about running marathons or climbing mountains, but she did cherish her morning walks, the smell of fresh air in her lungs, and the satisfying ache of muscles after a good stretch. Whether you're expecting, supporting someone who is, or just curious about what real strength looks like during one of life's most powerful transitions, this story is for you. Hit play and let Emily's journey inspire yours. But before the video starts, write in the comments from where you are watching this video. Thank you. Emily had always been a believer in quiet strength. Emily wanted to feel connected to her changing body, not a stranger to it. When she found out she was pregnant with her first child, everything shifted: her body, her emotions, and her sense of identity. And so, she began researching gentle ways to stay active. The news came on a rainy Wednesday morning. Emily had stared at the two pink lines for several minutes, as if expecting them to change their mind. Then, an electric jolt of joy spread through her chest. Morning sickness became her loyal companion, and naps during lunch breaks turned into a habit. She was going to be a mother. Emily had already begun to feel the subtle shift in her posture, the way her center of gravity tilted forward, how her lower back started whispering complaints by the end of the day. She missed feeling grounded. Could strength training bring that back? The first trimester was filled with the usual blend of excitement and exhaustion. Still, amidst the roller coaster of symptoms, she kept thinking, how can I stay strong, both for me and for the baby? She wasn't asking this question out of vanity. It was deeper than that. She made a mental note to stay upright, to listen to her body, and to start slow. She wanted to support the little life growing inside her with presence, intention, and physical grace. She unrolled her yoga mat one morning and stood in front of her mirror, her hands resting on her barely there bump. This was the beginning. That's when she stumbled upon an article titled, "Other Times, the Baby Would Kick Tiny Flutterings Like Wings If in Approval of the Effort, Light Strength Training for Pregnant Women." In fact, she felt stronger than she had in years, not in the way dumbbells measure, but in how she carried herself through each day. She noticed the curve of her spine, the shifting balance of her hips, the new heaviness in her legs. Intrigued, she clicked. She practiced wall push-ups, feeling the familiar burn return to her triceps. Emily felt alive, not just as a mother-to-be, but as a woman reclaiming her strength in a new form. The article explained how this form of exercise could be a safe and empowering practice during pregnancy. It read, but then added softly, "And maybe it's because I'm learning to trust my body." It wasn't about looking a certain way. It was about function, comfort, and longevity. Benefits: maintains muscle strength, helps support postural changes, and prevents back pain. Pregnancy taught her to listen not just to advice from blogs or instructors, but to the internal rhythms that only she could feel. 3 mornings a week, she would wake up before the sun, light a candle, and move with intention. "You're in great shape, and your back seems to be handling the pregnancy really well." That line struck a chord. The article continued. Tip: avoid exercises lying on your back during the second and third trimester. She avoided any exercise that had her lying on her back, remembering that important tip. It wasn't just a safety rule, it was a symbol of her commitment to be both strong and wise. That made sense, she thought. The pressure of the growing uterus on the vena cava could restrict blood flow, and safety was her top priority. But through each contraction, Emily remembered her breath, her power, and the mornings she'd trained her body to endure and support. Emily performed gentle squats with Lily in a wrap against her chest, her movements careful and loving. They had stretched and supported her, just as she now stretched and supported this new life. She had tiny fingers, a serious face, and a surprising strength in her grip, just like her mother. She leaned into that memory like a rope in a storm. Her body was softer, her eyes a little tired, but her posture remained tall and proud. She whispered, "We did it," and felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. With cautious optimism, She ordered a set of light resistance bands in pastel colors lavender, mint, and coral. The first session was gentle. She did squats with her own body weight, mindful of her knees. She used the resistance band to perform seated rows, focusing on posture, shoulders back, chest open. There was something meditative about it, the way the breath and movement came together. She made it a ritual. Sometimes her husband Jake would watch from the kitchen as he brewed coffee, smiling at her dedication. It had been a lifeline, a guiding thread through one of the most transformational chapters of her life. As her belly grew, so did her awareness of every part of her body. Yet, despite the extra weight, she didn't feel weaker. Friends began to notice. "You're glowing," one of them said during a lunch date. "You just seem so confident." Emily laughed. "It's the bands," she joked. Her OBGYN was impressed during checkups. "Whatever you're doing, keep it up." That was something Emily didn't take for granted. She had heard countless stories of women experiencing severe back pain during pregnancy. For her, though, the consistent training targeting her glutes, core, and back muscles was making a real difference. Of course, there were days when fatigue won, days when the couch whispered her name more convincingly than the mat, and that was okay too. One afternoon, in her third trimester, Emily stood in the living room stretching with her resistance band looped around her arms. A soft song played in the background. She paused to catch her breath and looked down at her belly. The baby kicked again, stronger this time. She smiled and whispered, "We're getting strong together, aren't we?" The moment felt sacred. As her due date approached, Emily scaled back her workouts, but kept the essentials: gentle squats, seated rows, standing leg lifts, and shoulder stretches. She swapped longer routines for mindful movement, always upright, always steady. When labor finally came, it was long, intense, a whirlwind of pain and surrender. Her daughter, Lily, was born just after midnight on a full moon. In the weeks that followed, as Emily healed and adapted to the rhythms of new motherhood, she returned to her mat. Slowly, tenderly. This time, Lily watched her from a bassinet nearby. The resistance bands returned, too, not just as tools for fitness, but as symbols of her journey. One day, while bouncing Lily in her arms, Emily looked at herself in the mirror. Light strength training for pregnant women had become so much more than a headline.